So why are you using Nostr, Mike?
Woof. Okay, so let's go principle first.
Mm-hmm.
Nostr follows all the Bitcoin principles. So the freedom, trustless, permissionless, just absolutely, there's no question to use anything else really, or to be able to rely on anything else. I got into it because of Jack Dorsey. So I was on Twitter, X, and he posts quite cryptically. So I think he posted his public key a couple of times, and I recognized it as a public key, but it was no public key I'd ever seen before. It wasn't a Bitcoin address, wasn't a PGP address, didn't say anything else. I did that a couple of times and then posted the word Nostr. Okay, that's interesting. But kind of just, I think the rule in advertising is you have to see something 7 times before you buy.
Mm.
Um, and I think the seventh time was Ben Perrin, BTC Sessions, posted a video saying, "Okay, I'm gonna set up Nostr." So I
Mm.
watched it and it was awful. So it looked awful. It was unbelievably difficult to use. This is a very early client, nothing worked. It looked terrible, but I saw the potential. I thought, okay, so you're running your own social media. It's not an account. It's a public key pair. You're in control. It's your data. You choose. It's permissionless, censorless, freedom. And I thought, okay, so I started it again, and I actually went through. I can't remember the name of the client, but it was an awful web-based thing. Set up my key pair. It was empty. I had no followers. This was very early days, and so I thought, right, let's try and find Ben's npub, or how to find him. I found him, then found who he was following, and started going through that. And so there wasn't much to do back then. There was very little going on, but there was, and obviously Nostr is very Bitcoin focused, but just the whole atmosphere of Nostr was very positive, very. It's a good vibe. It's not like other social media platforms have kind of just got very hostile and very antagonistic and aggressive and defensive. And Nostr was just a very positive community, very Bitcoin focused. And I spend my whole life on Bitcoin, so I'm thinking about understanding and doing Bitcoin all the time. And so it was just very focused on where I wanted to be, had the right kind of community, and very inclusive, very positive, and as kind of grew as it grew, and enjoyed being, and just embrace the ecosystem. So I've enjoyed kind of. I now run my own relay. I've got my own NIP, my own identity. I've got my own, my Lightning address is my own domain, and I just kind of enjoyed building out the whole self sovereignty. I guess again, it embraces that idea of I am my own bank, I am my own identity, and I am my own communication system. I don't need to use or trust any third party for my money, for my identity, or to communicate on my behalf. And so I very much enjoy that freedom.
Mm. It's so cool, isn't it? And it's interesting how information spreads, and someone like Jack Dorsey is extraordinarily influential, yet like cryptic. You had to like dig into it and find out like what the hell is this guy trying to say. And so when you say like the early days of Nostr, roughly when are you referring to?
Oof. So I know it was around a year or so before I saw it, but I honestly can't remember. It's maybe 3 years ago, something like that. You can probably find out from my npub. I don't know if it probably has a
I was
creation
about to
date or
check mine
something,
as
but
well. Well, it's
yeah.
interesting that
But
you talk about the early days, but to me, like these are the early days of Nostr. I mean, it's probably not even 5 years old, and to my
mhm.
understanding, it came out of a hackathon that Ben Ark was part of. These Lightning developers that were looking at digital marketplaces that are decentralized. How do you actually do
Mhm.
it? And it completely caught my attention as well in that very very focused on, well, not necessarily focused on, but very aware of digital censorship. Okay, cool. So I was really talking about the route to Nostr and the fact that information travels unfairly, and you have to, like, someone like a Jack Dorsey, you can follow their content, but even then it's kind of cryptic, and you're like, oh, what does he mean by this? But when you're
Hmm.
already into Bitcoin, the the use case for Nostr is very, very clear. And in particular, the last 5 years, when digital censorship has been so rampant on the legacy media platforms, it's like, well, we need some way of talking to each other online where you can't just get rug pulled. You know, the amount of YouTube channels I've seen cancelled, or X accounts that get suspended, Instagram, these people spend their lives building an account to suddenly, it's not yours. You're building on someone else's digital fiefdom. And Nostr is just so different.